Hi, everybody. I'm Paul, founder of BrowserBase. We are here at AIE at the BrowserBase booth, and I'm here with Sunny, CTO of Forward Deployed Engineering at Decagon. Sunny, thanks for coming on today.
Good to be here.
So what do you think of the conference so far? What have you been seeing as you walk around this kind of crazy convention hall? What's happening on the ground?
It is a crazy convention hall. I'm having a great time. Sometimes when you're working on your own, when you're in your company world, you forget like how extensible the problems are and how other companies are experiencing the same things. It's really nice to like share those lessons.
Yeah.
But it's fun to be in this chaos. It's a representative of the new world that we're in.
And Decagon obviously is a company that's like in the AI zeitgeist
Yes.
here, but serving a more of an enterprise customer
Yeah.
sometime. Maybe you can talk about like what does Decagon do, and we can kind of go from there.
Totally. Yeah. So Decagon 24/7 AI customer service agent. We've all had the experience of calling in your favorite brand and being told press 1 for billing, press 2 for membership. Instead, you call, you email, you text in, you get a human-like AI responding and helping you with your customer service pain points. And what we find for our customers, not only does this reduce cost, it actually boosts their customer satisfaction. So that's what we do in a nutshell. And to your point, we work with mid-market brands, we work with the largest companies in the world. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of forward deployed differences between, those worlds.
And I'm talking to the guy who knows about it.
Yes.
I imagine that like bringing AI to the enterprise, there's obstacles in the way. What are you often seeing, and what is Decagon doing to bring the bleeding edge of AI to some of the largest companies in the world?
Yeah, I think like two of our like really big value props is number one, because we see what makes a successful implementation, successful architecture, successful model usage across customers, we can like have a very opinionated take of like, this is going to bring you business success. And so I just gave a talk, and like one of the themes was, not only are you an executor, you're also an advisor. So I think that's one. And then number two is, especially in like the large enterprise in the world, there's like this concern of like, hey, what if my agent does something crazy or like damages my brand in some way? And so, we've become that trusted advisor. We've layered in all of these safety guardrails, but understandably, there's skepticism on, is AI really going to solve my problem? And one of the things that we do for customers is allay that concern and help them utilize AI safely.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like AI safety and observability and governance is like a really hot topic right now, and it's like with Fable coming out and like, oh, this could hack everybody. Like,
Totally.
is this good or bad? I imagine AI safety is like both a model problem and a product problem, and probably like a policy problem at the very end. For when you're talking with customers, how do you get them comfortable with newer types of models and even more autonomy? Because you think of a Carpathy's autonomy slider, we want to have agents that are fully autonomous, but that offers more risk.
Totally.
How do you think about that with like a larger customer?
Yeah. We have like so many layered guardrails into the product. Number one is we have like separate models that are checking to make sure the agent that is interacting with your customer is saying the things that you're okay with, speaking of the tonality that you want. We give a lot of thought into making sure that your brand is not only protected, but is boosted by our agent. And I think secondarily, going through like explaining to the enterprise, going through their model risk, model governance processes, and explaining to them how we use models, how we're testing them. Within the Decagon product, there's like a regression test suite where you can actually test the equivalent of real life human conversations happening on your agent, just to give customers that confidence of like, hey, this agent's going to work really well in practice. This is something we think a ton about.
Yeah. Maybe going in a different direction slightly. As someone who's forward deployed, oftentimes forward deployed engineers are also building the product. That's where it came from at Palantir, the Deltas.
Yeah.
Is your forward deployed team actually shipping code back to Decagon? And what does that process look like for actually getting the lesson learned from the front lines back into the product?
Yeah, totally. In Decagon's world, forward deployed engineering is product engineering. There's no difference. As a forward deployed engineer, as a field engineer, you're experiencing the customer pain points firsthand. You know what product to build to solve that pain point, and that should all live in the same brain. And so, in our world, the interviews are the same, the org is the same. You are a product engineer. It's just that you also interface with customers, and so you have this great intuition for what product to build.
Right. And I wonder about how are people getting into forward deployed now? Is this the first entry point for a new grad? Am I starting out from college and like I become a forward deployed engineer? Like it's a new career path a little bit, but certainly much more mainstream and arguably the hottest job in AI right now. How do you think about recruiting? And if I was watching this and I was a new grad, is forward deployed the place I should be starting?
Yeah. If you're, prior to this, I had a company of my own. If you like love talking to customers, if you love seeing how a product interfaces with customers, forward deployment is for you.
Yeah.
And if you are a product engineer who loves building products to help company pain points, forward deployment is also for you, right? Because they're not actually two separate things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have engineers who love to be interfacing with customers and obviously want to give them that experience. And so it kind of depends a little bit on like the person's preference, but ultimately for us, it's the same recruiting funnel. Whether you're forward deployed, product, engineering, whatever, it's all really the same thing in this new world.
It's all customer first. It sounds
all customer
like.
first.
Good. When you think back to 6 months ago, I know you're new to Decagon, only a few months ago, but 6 months ago, AI has progressed so much.
Yeah.
What have you experienced firsthand as you've been using models yourself? Like what's really changed, and has anything unlocked, and maybe it's finally clicked for you in the last few months?
Totally, yeah. I mean, we're on the edge of a lot of this stuff. So we have like our own research team that is constantly figuring out the latest model drop, how can it be incorporated into our product. I think sort of the main takeaway is the pace of innovation is like pretty astounding. And also how much exposure the folks at this conference have versus how much has left to permeate into the rest of the world. I meet customers nowadays who are like, yeah, actually haven't incorporated a ton of AI yet. And like they're looking towards us to help them build that AI transformation journey. I'm excited to be part of that journey.
Yeah.
It's a rapidly expanding field. And it's cool to be part of that wave of, hey, let's bring that into the rest of the world.
Yeah, I often say that browser-based is enabling the AI diffusion to the real economy, because so much of the real economy is locked behind software that's not going to have an API or MCP. And if we really want to build AI for the rest of the world, not just for San Francisco, we have to go to the gritty spots. We have to forward deploy. We actually have to go figure out how we can make AI work for everybody, which is going to require, I think it's an engineering challenge at this point.
Absolutely.
To solve that, not just a model quality challenge.
Absolutely.
So when we think about Decagon, and people think about customer support as like this huge category for AI, what do people misunderstand about the product? Like it's probably more than just a chatbot on my website, right? It's a lot more complex than that.
It's really easy to put together like a vaporware demo that like seems like it works. But if you're going to build something that brands are going to trust their customer relationship with, there is a ton of testing and building and thoughtfulness that has to go into constructing that product. I think it's one learning, because often I'll have customers be like, but I saw this like demo, and it's like, but in reality, that would be terrible for your brand. And then secondly, if you're a field person, if you're in the field at all, part of your mandate is to make sure anything custom that you are doing gets fed back into the product. Ultimately, at Decagon, we want the customer to own the agent. We don't want it to be a patchwork. We want it to be a well understood product. And so how do we make sure that their experience owning that agent, it's maintainable, it's accessible to them, and they feel comfortable with this new technology?
Yeah, I always like to say that your agent is your IP in a little bit.
Yeah.
Like your customer needs to own the business logic and really be on the hook for improving an agent. But at the same time, it's pretty hard to build a good agent right now. And I'm curious, like when you forward deploy, how much are you teaching people how to build agents? How much is the product solving that? How do you make this work? Because if their agent sucks, then that's not going to be good on our product. So how do you kind of handle that?
Yeah, our ethos is the customer should be able to configure the agent through the UI. So we have every part of our product, whether that's the automated QA, the monitoring, the alerting, the actual agent behavior, all configured via natural language. And the way we do this is we have basically two forms of forward deployed engineering. The first one is agent builders. These are Decagon pros. They've built an intuition around like how models respond to certain kinds of prompts and making sure that the agent works really well for the customer based on the scope required. And then secondly, we have like our agent software engineers. And these are folks who are interfacing with the product, the way it's adopted by enterprises, figuring out where the edges need to be smoothed out, and then bring that back into the product so that all the later customers can benefit from that interaction.
Yeah, I almost have to imagine that like as the agents keep running, they probably get better too, because there's more traces, more observability.
Totally.
I mean, if you look at the booths here, probably the largest category of AI company at AIE is observability for agents.
Yeah.
How do you work that into the whole product to make sure that the agent works the first time, but it keeps working and your team knows when it's not working at all?
We do a bunch of stuff here. One part of our product is called watchtowers, which you can think of as, I mean, it is an AI that is like reading all of your conversations and alerting you on conditions that you wanted to flag. For example, this customer expressed like their churn risk. We have an AI read through all of that and then flag that to our customer. That is one example. Another example is we have like this test suite. It's called simulations. You can phone in, you can pretend that like real life users are calling in your agent or chatting with your agent and you're testing its behavior. So we have a lot in the way of like monitoring and observability that's crucial to gain enterprise trust, to make them feel comfortable with an agent in their systems,
right?
Especially when you're interfacing with their brand, with their customers.
Yeah, I almost imagine like an eval, right?
Yeah.
Like you can, and we had unit tests for our old code, but now we have evals for the agent code.
Totally.
And hopefully that as there's more iterations of the product, it gets better. But I have to imagine like, man, there's probably some crazy inputs to this agent, right?
Yeah.
Especially when people get mad.
Totally.
Like, when I think about customer support, we've all had that moment where we're on the phone and we just want the humans so bad. How do you handle those edge cases? Because I think it's stuff you can't predict a lot of time. And even if you have 1,000 evals running, there's going to be the one weird person who just starts yelling at the phone. How does Decagon think about that?
By the way, in the customer support world, that's called barging, like asking human, which we were all guilty of. We have a ton of input guardrails that run in parallel. So identifying malicious behavior, identifying kind of prompt injections, like something like this, right? So trying to make sure that we flag across like things that we do not want to happen. As for like barge rate and like making sure the customer feels happy and like well served, part of that is like making sure the agent is performant, making sure that it knows the user's problem, it recognizes the user. We have memory in the product, so we remember when the last time the user came to the product and like can call that out. And so we have multiple guardrails, like some are safety related and some are just like making sure the product works well and is like being responsive to the customer need.
When you think about the things that you need at Decagon from the labs, from the models, what are the biggest gaps that really you hope to see improved over the next year to continue to serve more customers and see more capabilities?
Yeah, a customer experience is unique in that you have like these two dual levers you have to work on. One is latency, especially in a phone call, like the latency matters a lot. And then two, accuracy. And often these are like sort of opposites. So we do a lot of work here in fine-tuning open source models to get the kind of performance that we need. But we're always looking towards like what are lab companies releasing that we can adopt. One thing that we're watching with bated anticipation is like the speech-to-speech models. I think it's going to be huge for our voice business. So things like that. And we're always like in communication with them to share feedback. That's one thing I'm particularly interested in.
Well, listen, it's so good to have you on the pod today. I really enjoyed it. Anything else we should talk about? Any other ideas?
I have to plug us. We're hiring super aggressively. So that's one. Otherwise, I mean, look, I think we're in a really fortunate time in the world where we get to be part of this wave of making this brand new technology that's changing quickly to the rest of the world. You're part of this wave. We're part of this wave. And it's an exciting time.
Well, I'm a huge fan of Decagon, so I really appreciate you coming on the pod, man.